Hey, what's going on, folks? We are doing ice talk tonight. Got the Detroit Red Wings on the show tonight. We got a good guy here. We're gonna bring him in a minute. The Red Wings are in a great building phase after the research I've done. I'm really impressed with it. But we'll get more into that in a minute. I know we're starting a little bit late tonight. We were supposed to go about 10:15, but the other show repping with Gina G ran a little bit over, which awesome show. If anyone gets a chance to check that one out, go ahead, check it out. Little reaction show from the game this weekend. Anyway, we're going to bring on our guest tonight, and here we go. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on?
What is up, man? How are you?
Doing good, man. It's been a hell of a week. And is it just me, or has this offseason just like flown by?
Really?
Yeah, it's like the shortest offseason I can remember. I feel like it was just 2 weeks ago that the draft was happening.
Well, you guys had a hell of a draft after looking at it. I mean, I know he doesn't make the drafts, but he did a hell of a job directing the way they call it. He let his scouts do the job, and I think Ian's really did a really good number on it. Ian's got what you wanted. You made the trade for the goalie.
Billy Husso, yeah.
For Husso. You have the Alex. I'm not even going to butcher that last name. Who you got last year. So you're going to have two really good young goalies.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Husso only played 38 games, but from the look from the Blues, which I imagine this trade wouldn't have happened a couple years ago being in the same division. But now that you're out of the division, it makes it a little bit easier to trade that way.
Well, if you paid attention a little bit last year, too, I mean, Husso was the guy who carried the Blues to the playoffs. When Binnington started playing, when Binnington started underwhelming, he was the one who came in and took it all over. So I'm excited about him. Nedeljkovic last season was spectacular. He had some rough patches near the end, but with the defensive core that we had, you can only do so much. So I'm really curious to see what this upgrades we made in the free agency with some rookies that might make the squad, how these guys are going to pan out.
Evanson, is that how you say it?
Simon Edvinsson, yep.
Is he going to make it?
I hope so. The problem is we've got a new coach coming in, new system.
That's the funny thing. Doesn't Eiserman know this guy really good from being from Tampa?
He was the assistant coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, back-to-back.
You guys just switched coaches, didn't you?
Yep.
Like you're the whole Detroit team went to Tampa, and then the whole Tampa team came to Detroit, right?
Yep. Well, now Jeff Blashill, who was coaching the Wings for about 7 years, he's an assistant coach now with Tampa. So basically, just took over where Derek Lalonde left off. So I'm curious to see what he does. I think that he's going to be a lot better with the rookies. My big beef that I had with Blashill was he just you could see him losing the locker room day and night. I think there was a rough game against Pittsburgh last season where they lost like 12-1 or like 12-0. I mean, there were some brutal games.
Well, you guys are in a massive rebuild for sure.
It's the price you pay when you contend for 25 years.
Well, I mean, you got the old Penguin, Oli Mata.
Yep. Yeah.
In free agency.
Give me a feeler on him. I mean, what should we expect as Wings fans?
Well, I mean, he learned a lot from Letang for sure. So he should be all right.
Yeah.
Because, I would expect him to be okay with this new coach. He plays a lot of defense, has a little bit of an offensive mind, so he should be all right.
We need more of those defensive guys anyway.
But then you got Ben Sherratt too.
Yep.
I probably butchered that one.
Ben Sherratt, big dog. Man can hit like a truck.
I thought the biggest signing though was Andrew Copp.
I like him a lot. Yeah, I think he's going to be hopefully a solution at the second line center.
He's a Michigan guy too.
Yep. Born and raised. I think he grew up a little bit away from my hometown.
So it's kind of going to go with the Lions, right? With Adrian
Aiden
Hutchinson.
Hutchinson, yep. Getting all the hometown guys. Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey was raised in Detroit Pistons.
Well, then you also got they signed Kopp right away to a 5-year, $25 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
So you locked away a good. I mean, Grant's going to be on the second line behind Larkin, depending on when Larkin comes back. I know he's injured, right?
He'll be back. Yeah, I think he's made his recovery now. Yeah.
Is he okay? I wasn't sure. I just saw an injury next to his name, but I didn't have time to click and research. Then you got Dominic Kubalik.
Yeah. So he was with the Blackhawks for a bit. A couple of years ago, he scored 30 goals. And that kind of production, I mean, he hasn't done it since, but if you can revitalize that, on a fresh start, new lineup, I think he could be a pretty nice addition.
And then you got the other ex-Penguin too, Blues, David Perron.
Oh, he's a Pen as well?
Yeah, he was a Penguin for a little bit.
He's not bad. I mean, he's old, but guy's still got gas in the tank.
So, I mean, he's made some moves that say, hey, you got some veterans. That's what you really signed to try and get in here and teach a lot of these rookies that are trying to make the team right now. What rookies do you feel are going to come close, going to be above the line? I mean, I'm sure we're not going to see Casper or Dylan James or Dmitry
Buchelnikov. Yeah, he's he's in the KHL right now. Actually, he's killing it. He's been making some OV plays. Been shooting from the exact place that Alex Ovechkin always shoots from. So curious to see how he pans out. But this year, Simon Edvinsson is the guy I'd be keeping my eyes on. If he doesn't make the roster out of camp, he's going to make it at some point this season. I mean, that kid is way too talented and way too skilled to not make it. Another name you could keep an eye on is there's a guy in the Griffins, Jonathan Bergeron. He's a forward, plays wing. He scored. I think he hit the rookie record for scoring in the AHL last season, or he was one of the top rookie scorers. He's going to be pretty mighty force if he can make the lineup. It just depends on how he gets to this depth. I mean, we're finally getting to the point where the Wings have a little bit of depth, which unfamiliar territory over the last few years.
Well, they're like we were saying, their prospect pool is really deep, but how ready are they?
I think it depends on the season. I mean, realistically, I think you're going to see maybe 2-3 guys make the roster this year. Probably 2, if I'm being realistic.
So would that be Seaman Simon
Edvinsson and Bergeron? Yep.
Bergeron. I'm sorry. Yeah,
those will be the guys next year. I'd keep an eye on Albert Johansson and probably Marco Kasper if he can make the leap. You've got a couple other depth guys that are slowly growing and developing. Red Savage, who has one of the coolest names I've ever heard, is going to be up there somewhere. Donovan Sabrango is in the AHL. He's a good depth defenseman that should see some NHL ice time. I mean, if you look at the contract setup that Yzerman has structured, I think there's only one guy that's signed over the next 2 or 3 years, and that's Ben Sherratt. I think it's Sherratt and Kopp, yeah. So, I mean, it's set up where the roster is flexible. You've got a lot of salary to spend when Seider and Raymond do need their big paydays. They're looking at extending, Tyler Bertuzzi and Dylan Larkin this season. I mean, there's a lot to love about how this team is set up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they say Dylan James is like a quiet player because he's from Sioux City.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a two-way player. He took them to the championship. I want to say it was last year, and he had 62 points in 61 games. Could this guy be a silent killer, or is he going to be productive? Or are we going to see him in a?
I got my eye on him. I watched a little bit of his tape, and last season he just started going off just out of the blue, and he was the guy who quite literally dragged Sioux City into the playoffs. I think he's going to be. If he makes the leap, I think you're going to see him be like a depth forward role, like an energizing third line guy, maybe get some second line time. But he's going to be a project pick that's going to take a couple years to develop, really smooth out certain facets of his game. The name, like I said, that you should really keep an eye on for this draft is Puchelnikov. I think that guy is going to come back. He has shades of a guy that Yzerman drafted a few years ago when he was in Tampa Bay. He was a Russian forward who a lot of people kind of passed up on, and he wound up panning out, and his name is Nikita Kucherov.
Wow. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
one of the top scoring wingers of the modern NHL. I'm not sure if Puchelnikov is going to turn out to that level, but this is Steve Yzerman we're talking about here,
If he's a Russian and got a shot like that Ovi guy, he's gonna score some goals.
I think he'll be all right.
A lot of them Russian guys always have this cannon.
The problem is going to be getting him out of the country. I don't know what the hell's going on. I know a lot of people have struggled, like Kirill Kaprizov out in Minnesota. Like, he almost got arrested out in Russia, and then he disappeared for like a week, and then he came back, and he's like, "I'm fine. Here's my contract extension." So, I don't know. Weird times, man. Weird times.
So it's gonna be like a Malkin incident,
right? Same thing, yeah. A couple years ago, right?
Yeah, 20 years, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Where we had to kind of kidnap him.
Yep, they had a Sergei Fedorov back in the 90s. I mean, when he had, or late 80s, he had to defect from the Soviet Union, and they had amazing documentary. If you ever get the chance, the Russian 5 documentary. It's a huge piece of hockey history.
I did not see that. Is that on is that Netflix or?
I don't know what it's on. I think it was on like ESPN for a while. Pretty damn good.
So it might be a 30-30?
Yeah, something like that. I know they did a 30 for 30 on the Avs Wings rivalry, I don't know, this year. That was pretty cool.
Okay. I need to check that one out.
Unrivaled, 30, yeah.
30-30 Fedorov. So what expectations do you have? Or I know you said you're in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So do you plan on going to games in Detroit or?
Yeah. So I'm going to opening night. I cover the team for Winging It in Motown. My podcast 313 Hockey covers the Wings. So I'll be attending a few games. For the most part, I'm going to be heading to a lot of Pens games just because, I just love hockey. So, just going to those games in general will be fun. They got a good vibe out here. Everybody's been pretty friendly, even when I show up in the Wings jersey.
I think you mainly get into a fight if you go to Heinz Field and act like a jackass. Because most of the people are pretty friendly.
Oh man,
but football's a whole different ball game here.
I did my first Steelers game last season. I went to the Raiders game, and there was a brawl on the street after the game. Awesome experience.
Oh, you didn't go to the tie?
No, I didn't. I was at it was like one of the first games last season, but I was walking around after the game and I saw a car pull out in front of the other, and then one thing led to another, and your classic street brawl. And I was like, of course Raiders fans are the ones fighting.
My buddy was there and he's like, I had to take off my jersey just to get out of there.
Man, yeah, it's a madhouse out there. But anyway, yeah, as far as expectations go, I don't know if this team's playoff ready. Maybe not this year. I think they're going to make a splash. I think they're going to really surprise a lot of people. I think a lot of teams and a lot of players still doubt what this team's capable of. So I think they'll be better. I don't know if they're good enough to beat out Boston yet. I think this is Boston's last dance here. So I think this is make it or break it for them. And then they're going to blow up. But next year is the year I'd be keeping an eye on if I was a Wings fan.
So you're saying Detroit's not going to be an easy victory this year?
No, they're going to give them hell. They're going to be. I think it's going to depend on injuries. Larkin hasn't played a full season in a while. He was injured last season. Jamie Benn broke his neck 2 years ago. And if Seider goes down, I don't really know how well the depth is going to handle it without him. He was a fixture last year. He was playing 30 minutes a night. So if they're not hurt, I think it's going to be a tough team to play against.
Okay.
That whole Atlantic division is just a nightmare, though. Between Florida, Tampa, guess you could say the Leafs, Boston, Ottawa, Detroit. Like, hard to trifle with anyone there. Maybe
Yeah, they have Perron being on the second line with Verona and Cobb.
that's a pretty damn good second line. As far as sleeper players go, keep an eye on Jacob Verona this year. I think if he stays healthy all year, you're going to see 40 goals out of him.
Even on the second line?
Oh yeah, most definitely. That man is. I think I looked at the stats the other day, and I think he's behind like Austin Matthews and maybe one or two other guys as like one of the most efficient scorers in the league.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He's got a hell of a shot. He just keeps getting hurt, or he just keeps like getting forced down the lineup. Like in Washington, they just squandered him. But I mean, what can you do with him when you got Alex Ovechkin above him in the lineup?
So are you going to the preseason opener?
I'm going to go to the season opener. I mean, that drive from Detroit to Pittsburgh is, about 5 hours long.
Well, we play Detroit in the preseason opener.
Are you? Is that away or is that here?
That Pittsburgh.
That's Pittsburgh. Oh yeah, then I might go to that. I got to look at I bought a bunch of tickets recently. So.
Tuesday night, September 27th.
Yeah, I'll probably be there. Let me take a look at my schedule.
I just saw it when I was looking over the
no shit.
Verona season. 19 goals, -8 though.
Yeah, I mean that whole lineup was just brutal in terms of defense. Like you look at any of those guys, and I think there will only be a couple players that have positives.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, they getting beat 12-0.
And I also think that like plus minus is a little outdated in terms of like how you manage defensive impact. Because like, say I jump on the ice right away, and as I'm getting off the ice, someone scores a goal. Like, is that my fault, or is it the fault of the guy who just got off the line?
So who do you have right now as your third line center? Sutter, Rasmussen, or Villano?
I think it's going to be Rasmussen. Michael Rasmussen, I know, is like he took a huge step last year. I mean, if I had to give somebody like most improved player in that lineup, it would be him. You could make a case for Joe Veleno, I think, but I don't think he's going to be your center. What I'm trying to figure out is what the hell we're doing with Philip Zadina. So originally he was like a top 6 guy over the last couple of years, and this time around, I mean, if you put him on the third line, he's not going to really reach his potential. If you put him on the fourth line, he's not doing anything. So I mean, at this point, he's kind of the odd man out, at least in my opinion. Like they're going to squander his potential if they can't find room for him.
We're talking about Zadina?
Yeah.
Philip?
Yep, that's the one. So he's 22 years old, pretty young guy. He was drafted early, and he had a lot of potential, but he just hasn't been able to reach it yet. He's one of those like real heady guys that, when the pressure's on, he just.
Well, they must think he's something. They would just signing him to that 3-year extension.
Yeah, I think that's one of the prove it deals. If he pans out, that's a great deal. If he doesn't, then, at least they didn't spend a lot.
Like my other question is Oscar Sundqvist going to go to the fourth line then?
I think so. I could see Sundqvist being a fourth line guy. I think Adam Ernie is going to probably get kicked out of the lineup. He played like shit last year. And yeah, like if I'm just being blunt here, and he doesn't really bring anything unique to the lineup that any other guy could.
And Robbie and Faber, what's his name? Fabry?
Fabry, yep, Robbie Fabry.
He's out at least until the 25th of October.
Man, I don't know about Fabry's out till January, actually. He tore his ACL. And this
That's what it says. I'm clicking on the link right now. Yeah. It says expected to be out at least until October 25th.
So this is the third time he's torn an ACL. He tore it twice on one leg, and this is the first time on his other leg. And I mean, at this point, like, I love the guy. I think he's a good player, but like, you got to start thinking about your future at that point. When your legs are just getting destroyed like that, that's going to hurt you in the long run.
Right, and then the other guy tore his Achilles. That Mark Pisak.
Mark Pisak, yep, he was a new guy too. I think he's out 6 months.
It says at least until November 25th for him.
Yeah. So he'll be interesting. I think he's another depth guy. I don't know how often he'll be popping in and out, but he could be a legend on the Griffins.
So he's going to be part of that possible bottom 6.
Yeah, he'll be like probably the 7th defenseman. If somebody gets hurt, you throw him on there. I mean, like a practice squad guy, basically.
Right. Yeah, so who gets left out on defense?
Jordan Osterley. He was fine last year, but I don't think he's good enough to beat. I mean, you've got Sider, Sherratt, you've got Philip Hronik, Ollie Mata, Simon Edvinson if he makes the team, and then
wow, yeah, I don't know how updated this is that I'm looking at. It doesn't even have Edvinson on here.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't officially made the roster yet, but I think come preseason he's going to make the roster.
Everyone keeps saying he's going to be like the lower minute of the defenseman guys, but they're saying he's going to be on this lineup.
Yeah, I think so too. It depends on, like I said, it depends on how he does in the preseason. And he's going to be in the prospect tournament this week in Traverse City. So
does that mean Lidstrom gets left off, or Jake Wallman, or
I think Gus Lindstrom is probably going to be the like extra guy if he doesn't take over where Jake Wallman is. I like Jake Wallman. I think he's got something more.
So who am I? Okay, you're telling me. Okay, so on this depth chart on CBS,
yeah,
it has Chariot.
Yep.
And then Mortez with more Cedar.
Yep.
On the first line, and then it has Mata and Hornick on the second line.
Yep.
And then the third line has Osterl.
Mm-hmm.
That's that right?
Osterley.
And then it has Hag, and then Syke, Cizak, whatever. And then on the bottom part on the right side, it has Lindstrom and Wallman.
Yeah, they've got those guys down as extras. And I think Hag is going to be a minor leaguer. I don't think he's going to be playing in the NHL this year.
So you think Edvinson's going to beat out Hag?
I think he's going to beat out Hag. I think he's going to. I think if he doesn't beat him out right away, he's going to beat him out this season. He's easily going to be one of their best players by the end of the year.
Okay. Yeah, I have Edvinson. Possibly, I wrote down a little thing on him. Should be getting more minutes towards the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really estimate like how many per game, but I just read that, and after reading it, I felt that he should be having a lot more minutes after the end of getting towards the end of the year.
They'll start relying on him more once the trade deadline hits, because they're going to be doing a fire sale again, probably.
You think?
Maybe not to the level that like Chicago did, this offseason. They're not going to be trading away players like crazy. Man, the Blackhawks downfall is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. But anyway, I think they're going to trade away a couple guys. I'm wondering about what's going to happen with Tyler Bertuzzi. That's going to be a story that it's going to be interesting to follow.
Does he want to stay and grow on this team, or does he want to go for the cup now?
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, the guy's 27, so he's in the prime of his career. He just scored 30 goals last year. They're going to be thinking either a new deal with him or they're going to trade him for a ton like they did with Anthony Mantha. I think I would like him to stay because he's the kind of guy who you want in the playoffs. He's like if Tom Wilson wasn't like a dirty, piece of shit.
I know enough about that guy.
Yeah, no kidding. He is good at getting under people's skin. He's the energy guy. But the problem is he can't play in Canada right now because of the vaccine restrictions that they have.
He has what?
So the NHL has or at least the city or the country of Canada has a law where if you're not vaccinated, you can't cross the border. And because of that, Tyler Bertuzzi can't cross the border to play in Canada. So he missed 12 games last season because he couldn't play out there. And so that kind of affects his trade value, I think, if you want to trade him. Because then you got to account for, okay, what if you have to play a Canadian team in the playoffs? He can't go to Canada to help you out.
I think that's eventually going to fall off that rule, though.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so too. Because he's the only guy who isn't vaccinated, and I'm like, dude, if it's just one guy, it's just one guy.
I don't really try to follow politics because of my podcast, and I don't feel like hearing the shit.
Yeah.
Now on my other, a couple, I am voiceful on it, but on my podcast, I try to stay off politics and all
No
that other
doubt, no
good
doubt.
jazz because I don't need that headache.
Yep.
So they missed about 12 games. So if they would have went to the playoffs and played like Montreal, Ontario, Ottawa, or
I see. I don't think they would have made the playoffs last year either. I mean, they were way behind.
what were they, 38 and 42 or something?
Yeah, and I mean, in that lineup, you've got these locks like, Tampa, Florida, Toronto, Boston. I mean, those guys have been dominating for the past couple of years now.
Right.
And I don't
yeah.
think, yeah.
Especially that Tampa team.
That Tampa team's brutal. I mean, they've been kind of our rivals for a while, and by rivals, I mean kind of like the Cleveland Browns and the Cleveland Browns in that sense.
Do you think Eiserman was waiting for the cup run to end in Tampa before he went after Lalonde?
I think so. I think he was taking his time. He was interviewing a few guys, but I think he wanted to see what happened with Lalonde to see, if he'd be interested or not. I was hoping he didn't.
Did I just butcher the hell out of that name?
Yeah. So I think he's been on his radar for a minute, but I know he interviewed a guy from Sweden that I really wanted, and I don't know where he's going to go, but I imagine he's going to go to the NHL eventually. And I was hoping Sergei Fedorov would have been the coach. He's in the KHL right now.
I was going to ask about that for sure.
Dude, he's doing some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. They started overtime in the KHL and he just pulled his goalie right away. And they're like even strength. And I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, he plays high risk. He's like really innovative and creative with how he plays. I
heard he lost like 3 in a row and he's ready to get fired.
Really? Oh, I haven't taken a look at that.
Yeah. What did I read? I don't know if I was looking on my computer or on my phone. Because I was starting to save shit everywhere, and I was like, where the hell was that?
Because if he's getting shit canned after 3 losses, he could coach anywhere in the NHL. I think anybody'd give him a blank check.
Yeah, I think they were talking about shit canning him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because he lost it wasn't like a good loss. It was really embarrassing.
Brutal.
It was like 5-1.
Wasn't
even that. But the KHL is a whole different ballgame.
Jeff Blashill lost 12-0 against the Arizona Coyotes last year.
Right.
Where
did I don't know where. I saw it somewhere. Yeah, it was bad, man. I was like, what is going on here?
That's sad. I mean, I think he's legit a very good coach, or at least he will be. It's only his second season. I think he won their cup last season.
Yeah, he's defending. Yeah, he's the defending champion. It's just bad.
Hey, thanks for the cup. Thanks for taking our random team to the finals. You're fired. That's like Barry Trotz.
But that's how serious they are over there, though.
Mm-hmm.
We're not used to that.
No, definitely not. Are you glad Malkin hung around then? Because he could have been doing that. Actually, you know what? It's funny. I was going to mention this. I was looking at.
So glad we kidnapped them.
Somebody sent me a picture. It was from Malkin's Instagram right before he became a free agent, where he posted this old note he wrote when he was a 10-year-old, where he's like, "When I grow up, I want to be a Detroit Red Wing."
Malkin?
And I would have totally taken him in a heartbeat. Yeah, you got to check his Instagram. He posted the note a while. It was right before the Pens signed him.
I think he was just looking to make money anywhere he could go,
I don't blame him. That guy's so talented.
But Josh Yohe said Sidney Crosby was really pulling to keep Malkin.
I'm glad he did, man.
Sid usually doesn't do that kind of thing, according to Josh Yohe.
So
I don't know him personally, so I can't go in and be like, "Well, yeah, blah 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 blah." No, I can't. I'm just going off of what Josh said.
You think they're gonna make one last push this year?
I pray they make 4 more runs.
Yeah, they should keep trying as much as they can with
as long as these guys are here. I hope they keep going. You never want to see it end, obviously.
No. I mean, I watched it my whole life. I saw 4 Stanley Cups in my entire life. Like, that never gets old. Never.
No, that I wish the cameras would get the hell off the ice though, so they could skate around with it.
Right.
And that was great. I remember watching, like, I'm probably a little bit older than you. I don't know how old you are, but I remember watching when Mario and Yager and all those guys, they could skate around the whole ice, and
they're just dicking around with it.
now they like do like a circle and they're like, here.
Yep.
Like, what is that? Like, get the cameras, get all the carpet off the damn ice, and let the guy skate around with it.
Man,
and let people remember what the hell that moment was like.
I feel like the NHL has gotten just so bad at marketing and like how they're just, like the showmanship. Like when you look at a league like the NBA or the NFL, like they're really good at like letting their star players thrive and letting people, like letting personalities come out. And when you listen to a hockey interview, every single interview sounds like the exact same guy saying the exact same thing.
I like how hockey sticks to hockey.
Yeah.
And they don't let them go off topic.
Yep. I mean, because then that's ultimately what the game is
and
about.
I think that's why a lot more people either love the sport or hate the sport, because they don't let the guys speak their true mind. Now, granted, we had the whole Russian thing, and those guys. Listen, no one's going to change their mind. Ovi's going to break Gretzky's record.
I think so. I hope so. Honestly, man, that guy's once in a lifetime talent.
Now, if he played for the Penguins, I'd be loving him.
Yeah,
but he plays
I
for
mean,
the
he's like a rival. Yeah,
but he plays for the Capitals, so I can't exactly. I love watching that shot. I that.
I like it when it's against teams I hate.
Right. I can't like go, oh damn, Ovechkin scored a hat trick. But watching the hat trick playoff game between Ovechkin and Crosby, that might be like one of the greatest moments ever.
Insane game. I mean, that was one of the craziest games I've ever seen. That one, and then there was like a series you guys had against the Flyers where it was just a nonstop brawls. I think it was like 2011, maybe 2010.
I think it was 2010.
It was back then.
It was 2009 or 2010 because it was during that run.
Mm-hmm.
One of those 2 years, and I'm getting my years mixed up.
I bet those good Flyers teams are fun to watch too. I mean, I'm not a Flyers guy, but just having like there are some teams where like when they're good, it's good for the league. Like when the Red Wings are good, the whole league thrives.
My son was born right after Game 6.
Oh, okay.
So the first night he came home and they won, I forgot I was holding him and I jumped up in the air with him.
In a way, that was your cup.
I totally forgot, but I mean, I held on to him. I didn't drop him or anything, but still, like, I was just caught up in emotion. Yeah. I was like, I looked around and I go, you guys should probably not be letting me hold this kid during a hockey game.
Y'all are spoiled in this city. You got the Steelers have never been bad, like in my lifetime.
This 500, this 500 ball is killing me.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a rough season for you.
We've had 3 playoff wins in 11 years.
I don't believe in Mitch Trubisky. I'll say it.
I'm not a Mitch fan either, but I have to be because it's my team.
Let Kenny cook.
yeah, I like Kenny Pickett too. And apparently Ben Roethlisberger might go to Dallas now.
No shit. I thought he retired.
He did, but everyone can come out, right?
I hate the Cowboys so much.
Me too, but if you want to make an extra quick couple mil, go play for 8 games and
right. I don't know why they don't just grab a guy like Cam. I mean, Cam Newton's still out there, like.
Right, and Cam Newton would fit more of a Dak Prescott style.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like if Ben does come out of retirement and Brady retires again, we're going to go through it. Which quarterback are they going to put in the Hall first?
And then then Drew Brees will come out again too. I mean, just never let that era end.
Yeah. So it's very questionable, but we're talking hockey. We're not.
Yeah.
That's all right. I get sidetracked.
It's that time of the year, man. Football just drags you in.
Yeah, someone mentions football, you're like,
gravitational pull.
Right. And then I just did the Niners show before this, so.
Oh yeah, you got it on the mind.
So, back to this little prospect pool. The depth chart notables: Robert Mastromoney.
Master Simone, yeah, Italian stallion. I think
God,
he'll be pretty good. He needs a little more time to develop. I mean, he's again another one of those prospects, like project picks. Where you draft a guy, you let him cook for a while, ruminate, see what happens when he pans out. I think he's signed for he's with the NCAA again for another year. I don't remember what org he's with. But
I'm just going off the depth. I'm just going off of the Hockey News depth chart notables, just so people
okay.
know.
Yeah, so he's with Arizona State next year. So he'll be there.
So if you don't know much about the guy, you can say pass. Like on their left wing, it has the Italian guy.
Yeah.
And then it has the Carter Mazur.
Yeah, Carter Mazur. Man, he was insane this World Juniors tournament. I think he had like 7 or 8 points in 3 games. He was a Team USA, and he's going to be crazy. I mean, that's a guy you're going to be excited to see over the next couple of years.
Any chance this year?
No. A lot of these guys are going to be a hard no this year.
Okay.
But these years are the big years. Like, the last year somebody develops before they make it.
Okay. Well, the next guy, what about Hannes?
Cross Hannes. So he's going to make it in the AHL this year. He just finished his last year of junior eligibility.
Grand Rapids, right?
Yep. So I actually interviewed him last year. Pretty cool guy, Texas native. He's got that thick Texan accent, and he's like a super skilled guy. I mean, he scored a Michigan goal, which very few people I think can do. So he'll be with Grand Rapids. He'll put in a pretty productive season, and hopefully we can see him next year.
Okay. So we might see him if say one of your left wingers gets hurt. Would he be one of the few call-ups?
I think the first call-up you're going to see is probably going to be Jonathan Berggren, as far as like a winger. Maybe Pontius Andreasen, who they signed this offseason. He's 23-year-old SHL Rookie of the Year.
Okay, they have Berggren as a right winger. They have Berggren as a white right winger.
Yeah, they have him. He kind of plays all over the lineup, though. I mean, he's one of those guys,
Okay. Is he a two-way player too?
Yeah, he's a little more offense than defense. I would say he's like a playmaker type. Because he played setup man in Grand Rapids last year. I think he had over 60 points with the Griffins, which is hard to do as a 21-year-old.
Right. Okay. So we'll stick with right wing. What about Elder Soderbaum?
So I don't know if you've ever looked up who this guy is, but he's 6'8".
So he's like a Chara.
He is huge, and I think he's like 20 years old, 21. He's going to be at the Griffins too, but he's going to be. My hot take is he will be a Red Wing next year, if not the end of this year. That guy's got
usually those big guys play defense. He's a right winger.
Mm-hmm. And if you watch tape on him or footage, I mean, the guy's got hands. The guy is smooth, which you don't expect out of a guy that big.
So one day we could see Casper and then the Russian and then Soderblom on the same line.
Mm-hmm. And I think, you throw a guy like him on the ice with Sider, who's 6'4", Edvinsson, who's 6'5", then maybe you get another tall guy. I think Marco Casper's pretty tall. That's just a bunch of giants like skating around on the ice. You don't want to get hit by one of those dudes.
Or that sounds like a hell of a power play line too to put in front of the net.
Most def.
So you're saying when can we see him? You're saying next year?
I'm gonna say probably next year. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm making notes.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm making notes. I live in a paper and pen world.
Me too, man. I'm an old school guy myself.
Albin Grue.
He's this is it for him. This is the last year he can earn a deal with the Wings. He's not really panned out too well. And he's fallen so far in the depth that he's playing for like a super elite league instead of the SHL. So he's like basically the equivalent of like a AA team or a AAA team. I don't really see him panning out if I'm being realistic.
Okay. So would he try and be in a package deal, you think, just to move weight?
I don't even think he's gonna like he hasn't even been signed to a deal yet. I think he's gonna hit free agency, and I don't even know if he's gonna hit the NHL.
Okay. So then that brings us to Theodore
Niederbach.
Niederbach.
Yep. So he's in the SHL. He's playing in Sweden. Next year, if he's good this year, he'll play with the Griffins next year.
So does he play with Casper?
I think they play on different teams, but they probably play each other pretty often this season. The problem with the Wings is they develop pretty slow. So they'll have their players play in like a junior league or like the SHL, and then they'll have them do, if they're not like amazing, they'll do at least a year in Grand Rapids, and then they'll come up.
Okay.
So they take their time a little bit with their prospects. And sometimes that works. Sometimes, in my opinion, it goes a little longer than you'd want them to. But it also offsets the chance that, you throw them in the fire too early and they don't pan out. I mean, Kasperi Kapanen's a good example of that, in my opinion.
If this guy makes it, and this is his real name, he is the perfect Red Wing. Red Savage.
Best name in the NHL. Potentially. Yeah, great name. He was a hero for Team USA. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's a steal of a draft pick. I think he's going to be – I think he's playing in the NCAA next year too. And then I'm going to say a year in Grand Rapids, then he makes it.
So you're saying about 2, possibly 3 years.
Yeah, probably
max.
2 years.
Unless drastic injury happens and all that other good stuff, it's the only way some of these guys might move quicker than normal.
Yeah.
But that doesn't even guarantee them that they're going to stay either. Might be like, hey, you're here till he gets back, and then unless you peak, unless you hit it,
That is the goal is that he pans out. And I think if you put him on like a third line, he's going to be like a Tyler Bertuzzi type.
I think he's going to be the number 1 selling jersey. I can tell you that much.
Give him number 69. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. You could probably put Red Savage on the whole back.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know anything about this guy. I just saw it. So I'm like kind of like, all right, this is badass.
No, he's good. He's got a cool name. There's a guy actually in the prospect tournament right now. And his name is Ivan. And I'm pretty sure his middle name is also Ivan.
I was going to ask about this guy because I was like, there's no way. And like, I guess he went on to say that he would rather be noticed for his skills than his name.
Oh.
Dude, with a name like Ivan and possibly Ivan.
It's like that guy who plays for Michigan State. His last name is Cockslam.
No.
Dead serious, and his number is 69.
Could you see it? Savage Cockslam.
Savage Cockslam. Michigan sports are on the come up.
Yeah, okay, all right. So is he in the Red Wings organization now?
Ivan?
No, the other guy.
Oh, Red Savage. Yeah, so the
Cockslam.
Oh, he's an MSU player. He plays for the football team.
Oh.
Pretty great still.
I'd be like, well, Eiserman's definitely going after comedy here. All right. So yes, Red Savage is in the NCAA, you said, but he is drafted by the Red Wings.
Yep, he was a 3rd-round pick, I think, last year.
Last year, okay. Because I was going to say, wasn't Dante Berlinkikov your 3rd-round pick this year?
Yep, he was this year.
52 overall. Actually, Inns did really good with that 40th pick and the 52nd pick.
Yeah, we got some steals. I think we did pretty good this draft, honestly.
Yeah, I obviously I didn't know too much about Detroit until we started talking. So I'm learning as I go, but I like I said, I really like what Eiserman is doing so far from everything that looks good on paper. now I'm talking to you and you like it too. So obviously he's doing something right. Do you feel he is?
They did. So they actually did I forget what publication it did, but they did a like fan confidence poll in all the teams in the NHL, and I think that the Wings were rated one of the most, if not the most confident team fan base in the NHL. Which I understand why. I mean, the Steve Yzerman's been putting this team. He's been in control of this team for all of, I think, 2 years, and he went from a depleted prospect pool with a bunch of old guys that couldn't retire because the lineup was so fragile to one of the most exciting prospect pools in the NHL. Rookie of the year, 65-point rookie, and like a slew of exciting signings this year.
And that brings us to Pontus.
Yes, Pontus Andreasen. He is
okay.
So
I would have butchered that one.
He was signed to a 1-year deal with the SHL. I mean, the Wings do this every year. They'll find a guy who's in his early to mid 20s, who's started to hit some crazy scoring numbers in like a different league. They'll sign him to a 1-year deal. Sometimes that pans out, sometimes it doesn't. Like they signed Taro Hirose a while back from MSU. He was good for a little while. Hasn't really been great since. I don't know what they're going to do with Andreasen. I think he's going to be good for Grand Rapids. I know that team is trying to go for a playoff run, and I think he's going to be a big fixture there. And if the team gets too injured with the Wings, he could be called up as like an emergency guy.
Okay, so Pontus is going to be like an emergency call-up.
Yeah.
And then what about Liam Dower-Nilsson?
I think he's another one of those guys where you just got to let him kind of hang out for a few years. His timetable, I'd say, is probably 2-3 years, maybe more. Hopefully he pans out. I don't really know much about him, honestly.
Right. And then that brings us to the main depth chart, I would say, is Marco Kasper.
Mm-hmm.
And
big dog.
He's already going to be, I think after he's done with the Swedish League, he's going to be in Grand Rapids, as I was reading, right?
I think it's going to depend on how the season turns out with the SHL. If he winds up making it deep in the playoffs, they might just have him kind of rest. If the Griffins don't make the playoffs, they'll have him rest. But if he does wind up being good enough, they might call him into Grand Rapids by the end of the year. I think he could hypothetically skip the AHL and make the Wings roster next year. He's going to play in the prospect tournament this week and do a pretty damn good job, I hope. But he's got a very high floor, and that's something that I like about him, is that he could come into the lineup as early as next year.
He's a two-way center too.
Yep, he's like a second Dylan Larkin.
He's only 17.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a young kid.
Yeah, that's why that and he went 8th overall. That's what I think he's going to be here before he's 20.
Yeah, I agree.
I just, So, and then we went over Edvinsson already on defense. Mm-hmm. We think he's going to be here. Not a lot of ice time, but he's going to be there. And
he could seize up some ice time depending on if someone gets hurt or if he winds up just outperforming expectations.
But right now we both see him as like maybe
bottom pairing guy,
3rd, 4th line.
Yeah, 3rd pairing defenseman, I'd say.
So that's about what? Not Chris Letang time.
That's like who's
maybe
the
about
Ricola
12,
guy?
Like maybe 12 minutes a game.
I'd say he's probably going to get 16, maybe 17. They're gonna want to give him chances to show what he can do.
Okay, I wasn't sure of how we know where they were going to jump him in at. I was guessing around 12.
I think it'll depend on where what winds up happening.
Okay, because you have Mata and Sherrod up there, so they've got a pretty good pairing in the first line.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then William Wallander.
Yeah, William Wallander. He's another. The Wings have been drafting like these big Swedish guys on defense for the last couple of years, and this guy's another example of like an Albert Johansson type, where I think he's going to play. If he doesn't play in the SHL next year, he'll play in Grand Rapids this year. He's going to be a 2 to 3 year guy, timetable.
It's going to be like a Nicholas Lindstrom.
God, I hope so. If we get another Nick Lidstrom, I mean, I think Sider could hit Nick Lidstrom levels if he really just winds up panning out. But I wouldn't mind that. I would not be opposed.
Right. I guess Larry Murphy too, huh?
Yeah. He's actually one of our announcers now.
Is he?
Yeah, pretty chill guy.
The flip. That's what I always called him when he was in Pittsburgh. He played that flip with that. I don't know how that was amazing.
I got one of his old cards from like mid 90s. Cool guy. Very nice guy.
Was that a Penguin card?
Yeah.
I love Larry Murphy. 55.
Larry Murphy.
Okay, what about Albert Johansson?
That guy is somebody who I'm really excited about. Big Swedish defenseman, plays smart. I think he'd be a good complement to Edvinsson. And I think he'll be in Grand Rapids this year. And if the team doesn't get too injured, if the team gets too injured on defense, he's going to be up in the NHL. But I see him coming in next year.
So who do you see them losing?
I think you're going to see. I mean, I don't know. I think Mata's only on for a 1-year deal, so I think he's gone.
Is he? I don't know. I tried to find transactions and it took me through like a mad list and I was like, oh my gosh.
We got, as far as I'm on Cap Friendly right now, great resource, by the way. So as far as 1-year deals go, Olli Mata, Jordan Osterley, and Jake Wallman are all on 1-year deals, as well as Mark Pissick. The only defensemen that are signed through next year are Mo Sider, Ben Sherratt, and Philip Roenick. So okay. I think there's a lot of opening. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, Yzerman has structured this roster so that any players that are good enough can make it.
And what about Emil Viro?
Yeah, Emil Viro. He played for Team Finland this year in the World Juniors and actually won the gold, I think. Yeah, they won the gold or won the silver.
I think they won the gold, actually. I think they pulled the upset, right?
Yeah, they did pretty damn good, though. Oh, no, actually, Team Canada won. I remember that. Yeah, so they won silver. They won gold in the Olympics. But
the Olympics, yes. Okay.
But Viro did pretty damn good for both of those instances. I think he's going to be probably in the Finnish Liga again this year. Let me take a look at exactly where they have him penciled in. It looks like he played with the Griffins for a minute. No, he's penciled in with the Griffins this year, so he'll be in Grand Rapids. He's turned out to be quite the steal in the draft too. I think he was a 3rd or 4th round pick. So I'm impressed. I'm excited to see what he does.
Okay. I've never been to Grand Rapids.
It's a cool town. If you like Chicago, it's like a smaller Chicago. A lot more walkable, a lot more chill. If you like beer, there's a lot of breweries. Big brewery town.
Okay.
So
it's perfect for a minor league team.
Yep. They do. I think they used to do dollar beer nights, which, I mean, I lived in Grand Rapids for a few years, and those will take a toll on you.
Okay. Yes, they will. And yeah, I'm more of I like to sip whiskey.
Yeah, me too. I'm a bourbon guy myself.
So there's a lot more. Hold on, one more. Donovan Serbrango.
Donovan Serbrango. Yep. He won gold with Team Canada this year, the World Juniors. He is a depth guy in Grand Rapids. I mean, he played all of last season, which was very rare for a guy as young as him. He'll probably play there again this year, and then will be called up by the end of the season, I think. I think somebody's gonna get hurt or traded, and he's gonna have to come up, which I don't mind because I like him, and I think he's gonna be really good.
All right. Now, theirs are all left wingers, and then there's only one right winger on the depth chart that are notable, and that's Antti Tuomisto.
Yep. Another guy who is going to be a university product. He's going to hang out for a while. I think he might actually be. So it looks like Elite Prospects has him set to play in, the Finnish Liga next year. So they're projecting him to play the full season. He played with the University of Denver last year, put up 9 points, 35 games. So, I mean, he's been decent. I'm curious to see how he's going to pan out.
Okay. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more left defensemen in heavy depth than there's right defensemen.
Yeah. Because we got a good depth on the right D right now. Ben Sherratt can play both sides. Philip Hronik's good on the right side.
That was my next question. Which ones can play crossover?
Yeah. I think in a pinch, a couple other guys can play both sides. I mean, we have Mark Pysyk can play defense and forward, which is very rare.
It's good to have, though.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, is Bednar and Cossa going to be your Grand Rapids guys?
I think that Costa is going to go back to the junior league again. He's got a ways to go. He's got to develop a bit, and Bednar's in the Czech league right now, and I don't see Bednar panning out that much. He didn't play very well in the World Juniors, so I don't know how long it'll take with Kosa, but I mean we've got Huso and Nedeljkovic right now who will hold it down until he pans out, and if he doesn't, they can just sign a better goalie.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, with this prospect lineup, I've heard Steve Yzerman's interviews, and I've heard a lot of other GMs talk about like how much they hope things will pan out. And even if like a third of these guys wind up panning out, that is a successful prospect pool.
Right.
So fingers crossed on that. I mean, I hope that a lot of these big stars pan out. And I'm just really excited to see what the future holds. I mean, this is the most excited I've been as a Wings fan for about 6 years now.
New head coach, all the new prospects. When you have prospects that other people are excited about, it makes you excited. And this is like you were saying earlier, they had all the older guys down there before, and it was hard to get excited about. And now that you got the depth down there in the minor leagues and all over the place pretty much, and Grand Rapids looking to be a good depth chart for the pull-up if someone gets injured or whatever, it gives a little more excitement in the air, that you haven't had in a while. And then also, if Detroit does get hot, what would Yzerman do? Would he, at the deadline, would he start trading some of this depth to bring in a gun? Or would he say, let's ride this out and see what we got?
So I think it depends. I mean, Yzerman's a man of he'll move slow if he has to, and he's a guy with vision. I think that if this team does get hot and they start making a push for the playoffs, I kind of think he knows the roster better than most people would. And if I were him, I would probably just play it safe, maybe not do any big splashes just yet, because I don't think this team is ready for a deep run in the playoffs. When you look at especially a lot of the other division rivals that are way, way, way deep.
Okay.
Think about like going up against Tampa. Like, do you really think this roster could hold in the best of 7 series against Tampa?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that's a brutal team.
Because, I mean, you put all these young legs that stay fresher than the older generation, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything could happen. Look at that 93 team where the Islanders came in and beat the Penguins.
Very true. Very true.
Lots of speed did that.
Still think the Pens would have probably won, honestly, realistically, with enough rest.
That was supposed to be our best team, the 93 team.
I mean, we had the same thing. I think the Wings had like a 65-win season or something. They had the record for most wins in a season, and then they lost in the first round. Just a brutal experience.
It happens.
Yep.
And you're like, what the hell just happened?
I mean, sometimes I feel like you get a lot of these teams with like super teams where everybody thinks they're like that dude. And because you have all those guys that think you see this a lot with like the NBA. Like you get these teams of like, oh, I'm that dude. You got to rely on me. And none of those guys are willing to work as a team and as a unit. And it kind of causes the foundation to fall apart. Like you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have a good system, you're shit.
Right. Correct. I completely agree with you. So did we miss anything here? I mean, we're at an hour. That's why I don't know what your time frame is, and
yeah, it's getting pretty late out here.
I know we started late, and I'm grateful you hung out there and came on anyway. Like I said, I had that other show, and we ran over a little bit. You know, it happens, man. It happens. You know, we're not on TV where we have to get cut off.
You don't have to take the long ad breaks.
No, we didn't take any breaks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, we should definitely look into that Chicago-Detroit rivalry. I think that would be a great conversation to be bringing on.
Be funny as fuck.
I will, like I said, I'm doing Chicago Blackhawks next Wednesday, I believe. I didn't fully book it, but I mentioned it. So if we can book something from there, would you be down?
Yeah, cool. Could be interesting.
Okay.
Ask them about Andreas Athanasiou when you do get the chance.
Andreas?
I know it's a fucking long name. He played for the Wings for a while, and he was very good on the offense, but he had probably the worst defense I've ever seen in my life. He's one of their new signees that they got this offseason.
All right. When I see the name, I'm sure I'll be like, okay.
Yeah, you'll be like, oh, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, we just mentioned this. Gotcha. Cool. So, Mr. Jim, how do they get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at RivardNHL, or if you are interested in podcasts, specifically something a little more lighthearted and fun, we got a podcast at 313 Hockey. That is your only source for Detroit Red Wings fake news and bullshit.
All right. Is that a YouTube channel too?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
We got somebody posting on it.
I don't know if we subbed each other. I have no idea.
No, well, we can change that after this.
Let's do it.
Cool.
So if you want to hang out and talk afterwards, you can. If not, I'm going to get my dog outside and get going from there. But I thank you for coming on. I'm glad you stuck around and waited. We will definitely redo this, and now we'll try and put the rivalry together, and we'll have a little banner, I guess.
No doubt, man. Much appreciated.
It's always fun doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So I will talk to them guys next week and see what they say, and hopefully we can get this thing going. And yeah, let me know. Maybe we can go hang out at the first Detroit Penguin game, just preseason and bullshit, and have a couple beers.
Yeah, I'll be around.
Well, let me know and we'll talk.
Cool, man.
But thank you for coming on, and like I said, thank you for sticking around because I know we started late. I don't even know. Do you work early? I have no idea.
Yeah, I do, but I mean it's not like hella early, so I work from home. So
sorry. So all right, roll out of bed, throw out of bed, throw on a collared shirt, be like, I'm good to go, boss.
Yep, hair sticking up in the ends, but that's okay. I'll stand like this so you can't see it on the camera.
Going with the alfalfa. I love it.
Oh yeah. All right, man. You have a good rest of your night.
All right, man. Thank you for coming on, and you have a good night as well.
Take her easy.
Well, guys, thank you for stopping by. It's been fun. We learned a lot about the Detroit Red Wings tonight and their depth chart. Well, hey, guys, everyone, have a good night, and we will talk to you possibly my next show on Sports Talking It or Talking Sports With, possibly looking at Friday night. We're going to do the 90s debut to 99 debut. We're going to do lineups on that. That's what it's looking like. That's when it's going to be. So, yeah, hopefully you guys will tune in Friday. And I think Gina's doing her show Friday as well before. Well, I don't know. I don't know yet. I didn't talk to her. So don't quote me on Anyway, everybody have a good night, and we will talk to you later.